Ladies and gentlemen, they're trying to pack the courts. This is really hilarious. So, in the typical cowardly manner in which Democrats operate, oftentimes, they're issuing a commission, or they've created a study to see whether, and they did this with reparations too, or they were thinking of doing it. Why don't you just decide what you're going to do? The Democratic Party never gives voters on the left anything they want. No Green New Deal, no Medicare for all single payer, no universal basic income, no court packing. There's a study. Where's the comprehensive immigration reform? Where is that? You have the House and Senate. And so everything, and when they, like everything that they run on, like AOC literally was elected only for Medicare for all and a Green New Deal. Eventually, she pushed Green New Deal legislation. They wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole during campaign season. They didn't want anything to do with the Green New Deal legislation. The Democrats say, or left-leaning voters and all the different ideological variations of left-leaning voters say, well, you know, I'm just going to vote for the Democratic Party because third parties can't win. You can actually, if you're on the left, you could push for a third party to become influential enough to then pressure the Democratic Party into whatever it is you want. It's not rocket science. But again, you would lose friends. You would be the focus and target of all like 10 or 12 liberal publications. You'd get the hit pieces. You would be very unpopular if you built up a third party and forced the Democratic Party to abide and honor its promises. Again, I'm not part of the left. I used to be. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I used to be the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. My articles went viral for a reason in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, other publications. You could read all of my writing in The Federalist, The Daily Caller, other publications, Jerusalem Post, on hagoodman.com. You could see my debates as well if you want to support my voice long term. My Patreon is below. You can add court packing to the list of ideas that are not feasible, that Democrats really don't want to touch, but because they lost in 2016, and President Trump had 3 Supreme Court justices, 3, okay? Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. Okay, his presidency was very successful. If you strip away and remove the apoplectic, hysterical, manic reaction from day one, the obsession, the sensational coverage of everything that had to do with Trump. I mean, it's true that President Trump shouldn't have said certain things, but his accomplishments overshadow anything that he stated. First president to step foot in North Korea. To begin détente between North and South Korea, President Moon Jae-in of South Korea stated that Trump deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. By the way, God bless the family of DMX, one of the greatest rappers of all time. He really is one of the greatest musical artists, one of the best rappers and hip-hop musicians and artists of all time. DMX was the absolute best, and he passed away, and it's a real tragedy and loss. He was really the epitome of a musical artist, and his work and everything he's done will live on forever. So DMX was amazing. But anyway, so you look, ladies and gentlemen, and they're trying to pack the courts. Why? Because they don't care about ideological, what are they calling it now? They want, you know, they're either calling it, what are they trying to say? They don't care about, here, hold on one second. But those have been put, hold on one second. So, more ideologically favorable justices. So they want to pack the courts. They want term limits. They wouldn't care if it was 9-0 liberal justices to conservative being 0, like no conservative justice. They wouldn't care. They lost Clinton losing was catastrophic for the Democratic Party. Now they have to focus on everything but policies. That's why they focus on euphemisms, because then they can mangle and butcher and manipulate semantics just to overshadow the fact that they were failures in terms of, they were political failures, even though they had every conceivable advantage. They barely have, they have the presidency, fine, but they barely have a majority in Congress. And in 2022, you already have people who have seen it is an absolute catastrophe what's taking place. The same facilities that Yad Vashem, that AOC likened to a time period that Yad Vashem in Jerusalem told her to learn more about. AOC tried to liken facilities to a moment in history that Democrats have distorted simply to suit their own political gain in the most despicable manner. And Yad Vashem, in a very polite manner, said, learn more about the topic, AOC. I wrote about that in the Jerusalem Post. Read my Jerusalem Post op-ed. She had no business. Democrats, especially people on the left, who oftentimes have the most disdain and contempt for the only state in the world. Well, let's just put it this way. I can get into it, but YouTube policies, we'll just leave it at that. Democrats are hypocrites on a whole bunch of issues. They pretend that they're fighting the 1930s and 1940s Germans that they've created in their minds, yet they act like those monsters more so than anyone else. Okay? Look at their attitudes towards the state of Israel. And their contempt and animus and disdain. And so, you have one person on the left who was kicked off of one platform just for the most horrendous anti-Semitic statements about what he wanted to do to the only Jewish state in the world. But anyway, they want to pack the courts because they lost miserably in 2016. And President Trump won 3 major political battles. Okay? They tried to railroad Kavanaugh. It didn't work. With Gorsuch, they didn't do much. With Kavanaugh, they tried to railroad him. With Amy Coney Barrett, they couldn't say too much. They didn't really say anything. And they got Trump got 3 Supreme Court justices. But here's the issue with court packing. You pack the courts, you add 2 more justices, then Republicans will add 5 more or 2 more. And then Democrats will then need to add more. And then Republicans, then you'll have 537 liberal justices and 539 conservative justices or whatever. It will never end. And term limits don't make any sense because you don't want Supreme Court decisions based on media. Like, you don't want them to say, okay, well, I'm going to decide on this because of media coverage. Or, term limits make no sense because then it's kind of like court packing. The issue with the Supreme Court is the following. You knew the rules. You knew that if you cheated Bernie Sanders, and people say, oh, well, you said that you shouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton because even if the Supreme Court was at stake, and you see 3 justices were at stake, and you didn't vote for Hillary. It's like, no, you're the problem. You cheated Bernie Sanders. You cheated Bernie Sanders, and you knew once you cheated him and railroaded him, the DNC emails forced Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign. You knew when that happened, people wouldn't vote for Democrats. So why did you do that? It's actually the opposite. Human beings aren't born into the world to fall in line for the Democratic Party. Human beings are not born. I wasn't born into this world, and neither were you, to follow the arbitrary commands and whims of the Democratic Party. It's a political party that runs on honest graft And it's a political machine, finely tuned political machine, since the days of Tammany Hall. Nobody has to fall in line ever for the Democratic Party, and they're not better, marginally better, or somewhat better on the issue of even immigration. Look what's taking place now. Worse. What's happening in the southern geographic region of our country, in the same facilities that AOC likened to a historical time period she should never again talk about, that even Yad Vashem refuted when she was trying to make absurd claims, as usual. Again, read my op-ed in the Jerusalem Post. It's on hagoodman.com. They're not even better, marginally better on that issue. Look what's taking place now. And you have people like Keith Olbermann, what do you expect us to do? Oh, how about act in the same manner that you were stating, like, how about live up to the ideals that you proclaimed during Trump's administration? It's now worse. You're seeing worse atrocities or worse tragedies. The facilities are overrun. They're above capacity in almost every case. There's more people and less resources than there were during President Trump's administration. And you had a Senate report with President Obama that I couldn't even talk about. That was worse than the family separation, which I was against. That was a bad, very horrendous policy, okay? But the Senate report, which was a policy during President Obama's administration, and you can go into the semantics, well, it wasn't a policy, it just happened, but it wasn't a policy. That's what Democrats do. They always console themselves and try to reassure themselves that they really are morally superior, when in reality, oftentimes they're hypocrites. It's not better. You're doing the same things. Cages are still there. The same facilities are being overrun with less resources and more people than during Trump's administration. And now you're talking about packing the courts, and you don't even have the courage to do so without a study. Oh, well, isn't that interesting? What are the chances the study will say Republicans will just simply pack the courts with 3 or 4 or 5 more judges? It will never end. You lost. And again, like, one of my Salon articles in 2016 was saying I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton, even if the Supreme Court was at stake. And that's true. I'm actually more conservative on the Second Amendment. I don't know why you want to restrict the Second Amendment. That's not going to prevent criminals or maniacs from doing anything. Okay? I'm not going to prevent them from doing anything. Look at the homicide rates in cities that have the toughest gun control. Go look. It's just basic logic, but like Democrats oftentimes are impervious to basic logic. You're not going to make a more ideologically liberal Supreme Court by just arbitrarily adding 2 more justices, because when the Senate is run by, when you have a Republican, hopefully in 2024, that takes over the Oval Office and White House, and you have the the Senate Republican, then Republicans are just going to add 2 more justices. You lost. You messed up. You cheated Bernie Sanders, and people didn't want to vote for Clinton. Like I said, I told people, like, I haven't been right about everything, but I've been right about the most important issues. I told people, get off of Twitter. I don't have a Twitter account. Okay? I do not have a Twitter account. I haven't had one for 3 years. I don't have a Facebook account. I haven't had one for 3 years. I told people, I said, get off of Twitter, get off of Facebook, don't listen to absurd message boards, and Clinton will lose. And she lost. And when that happened, Trump got 3 Supreme Court justices, and it wasn't the Bernie or bust people. It was the people who expected everyone to fall in line. Well, too bad. You know what? Your narcissism and your ego didn't force anyone else to fall in line. And then you could say, well, look what happened. That's on you. That's not on the idealistic left-leaning voters, who, by the way, many of whom became Trump supporters, like myself. There is a direct line between Bernie Sanders and President Trump. And there's nothing wrong with that, because Trump presided over amazing accomplishments. Things that he shouldn't have said certain things, that's true. But then again, Democrats have this morbid fascination with things that Trump said. So President Trump shouldn't have insulted LeBron James. He shouldn't have insulted NFL athletes. He should have created a national dialogue, discourse, debate on a number of issues. Okay, and if he starts his own social media platform, he should, again, never get into beefs, because there's no point. He fell for a trap. But packing the Supreme Court isn't going to work. It's not going to work. Okay? And they're too cowardly to even pack the Supreme Court. They have to have a study. There's no need for a study. Notice when Democrats don't want to do something, whether it's reparations or packing the court or Green New Deal legislation or universal basic income or whatever, they'll say, oh, well, we can't vote on it. It's a procedural issue, or we need a study, or they lie all the time, and they're not better than Republicans on even liberal issues. They're not better. Okay? They're not. When I say better, I mean they're not even more liberal on certain things. Or they're not, let's put it this way, they're not moral on certain issues. They're not morally superior. When they take over, they just, like Keith Olbermann said, what do you expect us to do? Check out that video. It's hilarious. What do you expect us to do? You were pontificating and condemning and judging President Trump. Now you have a worse situation. It is worse. There are more people in facilities. So I wonder what AOC thinks of those facilities now. Suddenly they're no longer, the worst example. Suddenly they're no longer the phrase that she utilized, that Yad Vashem told her never to utilize again. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. I'll be back in a couple of hours. Thank you.